Hello again, DV here. This is February the 12th, 2020, and I just wanted to make a quick little video this evening talking about public unions and the detrimental effect they're having on the United States. I did a video about this probably, I think, around 9 or 10 years ago. And recently I've been revisiting the idea with the political landscape as it is in the nation today. And look, these public unions are, I mean, it's just crazy how much power they can influence federal, state, local elections. And that's with their collective bargaining ability that was put into effect. President Kennedy, 1992, I think, in an executive order. There was a Taylor Act also around that time. The Taylor Act might have been in 1959. I'm not real sure. But at any rate, the outcome has been what was prognosticated by legal minds of 20 and 30 years prior to public unions giving collective bargaining rights, because many of these same unions with this collective bargaining power are influencing state and local elections heavily in some cases. And also, they're a major contributor to federal elections, national elections. And the problem here that I've come to come to the conclusion of is that these public unions, who, by the way, outnumber private unions and memberships now nationwide, have contributed to the pillaging of the citizens of this nation to fund their salaries, their benefit packages, their health care, and their pension plans. And how do they influence that? By voting for the politicians that control the legislation that grants increases to public workers, as in, increased salaries, increased pensions, increased health care, etc. Clothing vouchers, as far as that goes. But it's a major issue, and I've kind of zeroed in on why a lot of these big democratic cities, oh, by the way, the public unions contribute over 98% to Democratic political campaigns. Just a little side note there. And they control these big cities and small communities, even in some cases. A lot of cases, actually. And they elect the people that end up legislating and granting their wishes. Last year, I think it was last year, here in West Virginia, all the teachers went on strike over the funding of their health care. They wanted the governor to look into that and allocate money to fund their health care so they didn't have to pay premiums or something of that nature. But anyway, when the governor did pacify him, he gave him a 5% pay raise for, I don't know, the next 3 years or something. A substantial increase for those in that field. That included all the employees, the food workers and the janitors and whatnot that worked in the school systems. And where do you think all this money comes from? It comes from the citizens that pay taxes, the rest of us. We're funding these public employees who, by the way, in most cases now have better retirement, better salary, and better overall benefits than private workers do. As a lot of them, private workers don't even have access to health care plans a lot of times, because, like I said, the unions have declined in power in this country, except for the public unions. Private unions are a drop in a bucket compared to where they once were and what they did to help generate a strong middle class in this country from, I don't know, the 1940s on. Now it's not private, it's public, and they have taken control of the purse strings, and they're bleeding out their benefits from the rest of the population. And you look at these big democratic cities, Chicago, San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, on and on. What do they have? A lot of them. Major deficit problems, along with the deterioration of their public services, which the public pays for through taxes. Now, when you have public sector unions with collective bargaining powers, oh, by the way, if they go, if the business for a private company files bankruptcy, the benefits can be reduced, pensions included, health care included, of all the union members of that organization. Whatever union you were in to work in that business, that field, that area. But no, that doesn't apply to the public sector employees. They have, in many states, if not all, legislation. They have laws that say that the states, municipalities, federal, etc., are obligated, and they can't renegotiate the pensions and the health care benefits. They're obligated, as contracted, to fulfill that specific item for the public workers. Like I said, which is unlike private companies, businesses, and private unions. So, there's a whole list of things that make this so obviously wrong. And I'll tell you, if this continues, not only is what's left, the remnant of the middle class in this country, it's minimal now, in my opinion, but the remnant's going to slowly disappear and join the ranks of the low income, just above poverty limit citizens. And there's an abundance of those in the big cities that I named that are democratically controlled through the control exerted by the public unions. Just throwing that out there. So, people need to, we need to find a way, and I don't know what that would be, to exert pressure on legislators who we pay our taxes to and support, to listen to the citizens and not necessarily to the public union members that are trying to extort more wages, more benefits for their employment. Because if we don't, it's just a matter of time when most of the, or many of the local smaller cities and towns across this country are going to be in the same position. And it looks to me like it's a big scheme that is being directed toward socialism, communism, if you will. It's playing out in national politics right now. Just look at the Democratic field running for president. I mean, shit. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, that was all I wanted to put out there. In the description box, I'm going to leave an article from the National Affairs Winter 2020 titled "The Trouble with Public Sector Unions" by Daniel DeSalvo. It's kind of a lengthy read, but it's very informative. Covers a lot of stuff I covered in this video. But please take a look and, wake up to the fact that we're going to be in big trouble if we don't rein in these public unions and their ability to collectively bargain to take from the rest of other citizens that aren't in those jobs. Well, that's really all I had to say. Thank you for your time and have a good evening.